people? It's your boy Merv, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Black and Gold Hour podcast, the hottest and newest podcast for all things New Orleans Saints. Now, in today's episode, I got a lot to talk about, and I know you guys are like, how, man? It's not even the draft hasn't even happened yet, but there's always something being talked about in Who Dat Nation. And the first thing is the NFL Power Rankings. Early NFL Power Rankings have dropped for next season on ESPN.com as well as NFL.com, and I want to talk about it and kind of explore that. And then I want to talk about a quarterback that's not a free agent this year that's being talked about in rumors with the New Orleans Saints. And then lastly, I want to talk about the biggest factor in the New Orleans Saints getting to a Super Bowl next year. We're talking about all that in today's episode. But before I get into it, remember to like, comment, share the page, tell a friend. We want to continue to grow and build the community. Let's go. Now, the NFL Power Rankings released, and it's only February. We haven't had a draft, but these are the Power Rankings for next season. And I'm a big fan. I've always been a fan that's been big on the Power Rankings. Last season was the first season where I was like, hey, it doesn't matter, just winning the playoffs. And unfortunately, the New Orleans Saints did not. But the Power Rankings are out for the upcoming 2021 season. And I had to take a look at where the New Orleans Saints stood on ESPN.com as well as NFL.com. And there are two different power rankings. So on NFL.com, the New Orleans Saints ranked 6th. And that's with the assumption that Drew Brees will not be back next season. And on ESPN.com, the Saints ranked 13th. So there's a big discrepancy, but I do think the New Orleans Saints kind of lie in between. If Drew Brees does retire, as he most likely will, there's now a vacant spot at quarterback. Who will it be? Will it be Jameis? Will it be Taysom? Will it be somebody in the draft? Or will it be a free agent that we, don't expect to see in the black and gold next season? But it will be somebody, and it's a question mark right now. And that's why I think the Saints lie still within the top 10 in the league, and it's all about who your quarterback is. Quarterbacks win championships, and quarterbacks are a big discussion around the league. And speaking of quarterbacks, I kind of want to talk about a quarterback who wasn't like on this long free agent list, but might be unhappy where he is and might be the answer the New Orleans Saints are looking for. And that's quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, Russel Wilson. Now, Russel Wilson, he already talked about how Drew Brees was one of his inspirations, being one of the shorter quarterbacks. And you know what Russell Wilson means to the NFL. He has the ability to make the throws. He can escape the pocket. He has the best deep ball in the NFL. I mean, the rainbow and him and Lockett is just magic every time we watch it. He's one of the most exciting players to watch, and he may be a player that, if he gets in the black and gold, it won't be much of a drop off. And we may be on the ascension, and we may get that Lombardi trophy if we have a player like Russell Wilson with the likes of Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Tre'Quan Smith, and Adam Troutman. You know Russell Wilson's going to make Adam Troutman a star, So I would be excited to see that, but that would have to be via trade. And when we start talking about trades, me specifically, I do not believe the Saints are in a position or should even want to be in a position where they feel like they have to trade the team to get a quarterback. The team is very strong. The team is so close. And I think quarterback play, and I said this in past episodes, and a lot of people say this in Who Dat Nation, quarterback play may be the factor that kept the Saints out of the Super Bowl the last 2 or 3 years. So if we're just a quarterback away, why give up the whole team? And I mean, I'm talking about quarterbacks. I'm talking about Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. But in today's episode, I kind of want to talk about the defense. The New Orleans Saints defense actually became the strong point of the team. The New Orleans Saints defense became the most exciting, the most consistent part of the team. I mean, the offense has struggled the last 2 years. And honestly, I think the New Orleans Saints defense is on the ascension. The month of December was crazy for the New Orleans Saints defense. The New Orleans Saints defense was going crazy, shutting down opponents. Even in a loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, they had Patrick Mahomes stressed. He has never been that stressed outside of the Super Bowl. We had the Bucks. We beat them 38-3. We beat the championship, the Super Bowl champion Bucks. We held Tom Brady and company. And the New Orleans Saints defense, I believe, will be the #1 defense in the NFL in 2021. But there are some questions about the New Orleans Saints defense as we approach the offseason, and I want to unpack it all, and I want to start with, why I feel like the defense is an important factor for the New Orleans Saints and the most important factor going into the draft in the 2021 season. For years, almost 15 years, we watched Drew Brees, throw dimes. We watch him throw 500-yard games. We watch him do so many amazing things, and most of that amounted to nothing. We've seen the records. We've seen the accolades that Drew Brees gets. We've seen the primetime games. But what has that gotten us as Saints fans? One Super Bowl. So I believe that the key to the New Orleans Saints getting to the Super Bowl is a defense, a strong running game, and a competent quarterback able to get Michael Thomas the ball. So what I want to talk about in today is why I believe the New Orleans Saints defense will become number one. Now, the New Orleans Saints have some key free agents that I do want to talk about in today's episode, and that's Marcus Williams, Sheldon Rankins, and Trey Hendrickson. But let's talk about the coach acquisition in the secondary, which is part of the reason that I do believe this team can continue to be on the ascension. Now, in the 2020 season, the New Orleans Saints were ranked as high as 5th in the league. And ESPN had them at times ranked number 2 or number 1 in the NFL in total defense, holding opponents to 288 yards a game in the month of December. The New Orleans Saints defense was going crazy. The defensive line, Trey Hendrickson having a breakout season. But let's talk about the secondary coach who was just brought in, Chris Richard. Chris Richard, the Seattle, the Legion of Boom. We know what he can do. But the secondary has a lot of questions in New Orleans. Marcus Williams. Let's talk about Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams is a player that he's a ball hawk. And Marcus Williams is a player that can really grow under Chris Richard. I think Marcus Williams is a player that we've just seen the surface of what he can do. I know he's had a lot of bloopers and sometimes we get mad at him as fans, but Marcus Williams is a great player. He's now one of the best safeties in the league, and I don't even think he's reached his peak yet. I believe that Chris Richard can help take Marcus Williams to the next level, and I believe Marcus Williams is key to shoring up our back end. And honestly, if I had to choose, I would keep Marcus Williams before we keep Trey Hendrickson. I believe that our defensive line has enough depth to overcome Trey Hendrickson leading the organization. Now, Drew Brees has restructured his contract, allowing us to sign some players that are much needed in order for the New Orleans Saints to get to the playoffs and to make a run. And I think Marcus Williams is that player that the Saints need to focus on. And with Chris Richard in the building, I believe that he will make sure the secondary is a priority to the Saints coaching staff. And I do believe Marcus Williams will be in the black and gold next season. Now, another player that I want to talk about is Sheldon Rankins. Sheldon Rankins is a player that, when he's great, when he's healthy, he's a beast. Defensive tackle who can, create havoc. I mean, he is, clogging up the hole, and he's doing everything that you need a defensive tackle to do, but he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy, man, and it's to the point where you can't pay him. He's gonna get paid, and he's gonna, require some amount of money being paid, but you can't pay a player who cannot stay healthy. And I feel the same way about Quan Alexander as well, a great linebacker. We saw what him and Demario Davis were able to do, and I'm not worried about Demario Davis in the linebacking core. I think Demario Davis can do the work, and I think Quan Alexander, if he can stay healthy, will be a great valuable addition to the New Orleans Saints. I believe that the Saints already have to pay him at least $2 million for an injury settlement, so he's still going to be on the roster. If you're going to pay him, you might as well play him. And I believe that Quan Alexander and Demario Davis are going to go crazy next season. But I would like Quan Alexander to stay healthy. Alex Anzalone is also a free agent. And though he can't necessarily stay healthy, I would like to see him on the roster for depth. I do believe he creates plays. He did have some big issues in the divisional game. But I would like to see him kind of develop and, see what he can do, watching the offseason. Offseason wasn't the same last year, but having an offseason with not only Demario Davis, but Quan Alexander, and, he could just make our players better. But Marshawn Lattimore, he's here. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, he's here. But I definitely think we need to keep Marcus Williams. I do think that the defensive line, and why I believe that Trey Hendrickson can be, someone that can be let go, is because we have Malcolm Roach, Shy Tuttle, Malcolm Brown, Cam Jordan. Hopefully a healthy Cam Jordan, because I do not believe that Cam Jordan was healthy last season. I believe that the New Orleans Saints defensive line has so much depth, but the secondary is always in question, and having a player that we know what he can do, Marcus Williams, we know what he does great, and we know he has his bloopers, but his good outweighs his bad, and I believe that Marcus Williams is a player that we need to keep. You know, there's so much going on in the NFC South. You got the Tampa Bay Bucks and all the weapons they have. We need a sure safety. And Marcus Williams, you're not going to find too many people like Marcus Williams, and you're not going to find people in the draft who are ready to come in and contribute like Marcus Williams has. Now, I do believe the New Orleans Saints defense will be number one in the league, because of veteran leadership. If we can keep Malcolm Jenkins and we have Cam Jordan and Demario Davis, that shores up the veteran leadership, eliminates dumb plays. We do have a young defense with Marshawn Lattimore. We have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We have some young players, but they're dogs. They're aggressive. And Chris Richard is going to get them right. The Legion of Boom was young at one point, and you saw what he did with them. So I do think the New Orleans Saints defense is primed to be number one. I believe that a lot of the top defenses in the league may fall off. Baltimore may fall off a little bit. I do believe that the Bucs defense, they weren't that strong going into the 2020 season, but they played hard during the playoffs, and you see them get the Lombardi. And I do believe that we have a defensive line that can withstand a whole 17-game season. We have the depth. We have so many pieces. I would like to keep Trey Hendrickson, but I don't think that's a player that we can necessarily afford right now. He had a breakout season, number 2 in the league in sacks. But I do think if we can shore up the secondary, keep Quan Alexander, and Marcus Williams, I think we will be all right. And I do think the New Orleans Saints will be the number 1 team in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball. And I believe that whoever the quarterback would love to have a defense and a running game to carry them into the championship and into the playoffs. There are no questions about this defense. This is just a quick podcast that I wanted to put out and give you some quick reasons why I believe the New Orleans Saints defense is primed to be number 1 in the NFL next year. But if you guys have any comments, if y'all want to keep Trey Hendrickson and let Marcus Williams go, comment below. Let me know what y'all think, seriously, because I definitely want to hear you guys' opinion on the defensive line versus the secondary. Should we keep, Janoris Jenkins? Should we let Malcolm Jenkins go? There's so many questions, but I do think that the Saints will try to keep everyone on the defense as is, except Trey Hendrickson and Sheldon Rankins. And I believe that the veteran leadership, the young dogs on this team, and Chris Richard and Dennis Allen will be the contributing factors in the New Orleans Saints being the number 1 defense in the NFL. So in case you've never been here before, in case you've never watched an episode of the Black and Gold Hour podcast, then you have never heard of a Merv Speak segment. And a Merv Speak segment is where I kind of talk about some things that I'm going through in life, some things that, I'm thinking about, and I'm going to share it with you, whether it's bad or good. I'm gonna share the encouragement and tips for you guys, and hopefully it makes you happy and confident, and you share it with somebody else, and then we just all helping each other. That's what we do here on the Black and Gold Hour podcast. And today I kind of want to talk about the word authentic or authenticity. Sometimes we have our wall up. We're afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to come as we are. But how can we have real relationships when we're not really being ourselves? We're afraid of rejection. But our destinies are intertwined, and we can form powerful bonds to help us get through life if we let others in. Because you never know how someone else's gift can help you get to your next level, and vice versa. So remember to come as you are. Be authentic, and you will see a change in all of your relationships on every dynamic. Remember, be the change that you want to see. If you want friends that are real and genuine, you can't live by a social media persona personally. You gotta be yourself, and it will come back to you, because people are attracted to the real, and the real will prosper. So remember that for today's Merv Speak segment. Remember to like, comment, share the page. We want to keep talking New Orleans Saints football, but it's been a lot to talk about in this episode, and I'm sure as the draft comes along, there will be so much more to talk about. But remember, guys, stay safe, be blessed. Peace.